Right, good evening and welcome back to the 5USC United States Cup. We are here with a major league matchup, and boy is it a major match for this weekend. Probably just the marquee matchup outright here. It's North California A versus Pennsylvania A, seed 4, seed 5 of the major league. The closest match we'll have this weekend in terms of seeding. I am your caster for tonight, Bless. Joining me is Valine. How are we doing? How are you feeling about this match?
Doing fine, and I'm quite excited for this match. I'm also a little tired, but it's all good. That 7-mile hike was a good one, good workout here, and I'm excited to see the outcome of this matchup here to go to that winner's semis and meet New York.
Yep, of course, New York already finding their win in another close one, missing more, of course, but managing to stumble their way into a semifinals upper bracket berth. These teams, bit of a tougher bracket so far. Both teams actually going to tiebreaker in the round of 32, and then NorCal having a bit of an easier time against Texas last week, where Pennsylvania, not quite to tiebreaker, but dropping 4 points to Georgia A. And NorCal, although it was a 6-1 victory over Texas, did seem like a pretty close match throughout, nonetheless.
Yeah,
and
indeed.
so we are surely in for an exciting one tonight.
Yeah, so with Pennsylvania, people would think that, it's just a duo of Venom Puff and Remix it, but this is 3v3, and those two can already carry themselves with some good scores already. And especially with the tapping as well with those duos, it's kind of scary to really pick tapping into them, even if you think that they can get third player gapped for some of their players here. And with the addition of Bemp too, it could help them out massively in terms of the hard rock department as well. So North California, they wouldn't want to underestimate this duo here to be able to get that shot to semifinals here, and also them being in the same spot they've been in last year against New Jersey. But that outcome we know here, but this outcome we don't know just yet.
Yeah, quarterfinals, a bit of a cursed stage for all of California, really. Fortunately, it has gone a little bit better for them this year, but the A team still yet to make things different for themselves. We do have the roles already coming in for the teams, and as you were talking about those tapping maps, there were, I think, 3 teams to 3-way FC the DT3 last week. 2 of those teams being the 2 on your screen right now, NorCal and Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania scoring 3,411,105. And the reason why I'm telling you all 7 digits of their score is because NorCal A scored 3,412,946. It's not even a 2,000 score difference between these teams, number 1 and number 2 on the leaderboards for that one. Meanwhile, Pennsylvania flipping the script a little bit, finding the 2 FCs on the DT2 last week for 2.9 million team score. And NorCal struggling a little bit more in the middle section for around 2.5 million score, but we did see a lot of teams struggle in that part of the map, so not particularly surprised. Not particularly of concern, given the some of the aim mechanics that did make just everyone in general more prone to breaking in the middle.
Yeah, so it's not really like a singular skill set in tapping, even though it is kind of that main skill set. It did change its own pace for that DT2 with those like quick aim patterns that you have to account for. So, with nerves, you can get tunnel vision on those particular streams there while not accounting for the aim. But for this one in particular, though, for this DT2, this one is more so on that pure tapping side here, with DT3 being a little bit different as well with their finger control presence and also a little bit of a density as well.
Yep, and looking at the opposite end of the spectrum of skill sets for these teams, going to be looking at the Easy, another map we have a direct comparison between these 2 teams on. Less than 200,000 score difference, although it is kind of a lot for Easy. NorCal taking number 1, in fact, on the leaderboard for that map, and Pennsylvania down at number 8, but they still have Bemp. They have Taco Snaz, who came second on their tryouts on the Easy. And it looks like their third man is actually Remexia, but we'll have to see for this week. I'm not sure what they're going to be, who their third is going to be for that. We could see someone else. We could see Venom Puffs trying to learn the map.
Yeah. And already we're seeing a target ban against these two duos of that tapping prowess that Pennsylvania has shown throughout the tournament with that Noma 2 and DT2 ban here. And that hidden 2 ban coming from maybe Pennsylvania not having that solid 3 core for that reading there, and maybe anticipating an easy 1 ban on their end as well. But that Noma 5 still open, including that DT3, but much more kind of a coin flip between these two teams.
Yeah, especially the Nomad 5. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised not to see the Nomad 5 over the Nomad 2, as it is very similar to the DT2, where Pennsylvania found some more success on the inconsistency parts of the 240 tapping. This is, again, basically 240 tapping on the Nomad 5 this week. It's 239, which is basically the same thing. And looking at Pennsylvania's bans historically, this tournament, just hidden 2, hidden 1, both rounds. Not banning the easy, leaving it up, feeling pretty comfortable with both Bemp and Taco Snoz, and then just having a third player learn the map.
Okay.
So we could be seeing a hidden 3 ban here. That map is pretty difficult. It's pretty high skill cap, although I think that should still be within the skill cap of the players in this lobby. But still, probably NorCal going to be a little bit more proficient on that, especially if Pennsylvania is looking to ban out the hiddens, and it is the hidden 3 ban for Pennsylvania.
Yeah, once again, banning out 2 hiddens for third round in a row here for Pennsylvania. Maybe not more comfortable on the hidden, maybe mainly because Remixio quite still new to the 20 scene, much more in sync with the mechanics that he provides, and not much of the gimmick that the hidden 3 provides here. So it's an understandable ban on the side of Pennsylvania, especially against a team like North California, who can really do well on those kind of gimmicky picks as well, especially with California also being known as like a hidden state as well.
Yeah, and not just that, you have probably just the best gimmick player in the nation at some point in Azurium, winning H2 last year over Tarragon. And also, you have Cytosine coming back down from 4-digit. You have, I mean, I guess you have AJ Mosca as well, being promoted from B Team last year. And even beyond those 3, there's definitely more players who can play the hidden 3 to a very proficient degree.
Yeah.
We are getting into the picks here, and not sure if our chat feed is frozen or if the ref is just being slow to prompt them for that.
I'm hoping it's the latter, or else it's going to be problems with the stream overlay. Or maybe it's just Bancho doing Bancho things again, which did happen with the actual previous match of this B stream here. Nova 2 song is being played at the moment, even though that is still banned here, so we're still waiting to see what's going on. But yeah, this is a predictable pick here from the side of Pennsylvania with this Nomad 5 pick here.
Yeah, Nomad 5 likely just followed up with a DT3 and maybe a DT4 as well, if they're looking for the flow aim abuse. Or, I don't even know if it can be called abuse, as these teams are so incredibly close. They did have a bit of an edge on the equivalent map of last week, of course, on the DT2, the 240 BPM burst with a little bit of aim mechanics mixed in. The circles are a little bigger here, however, CS 3.4, but to make up for that, so is the spacing. It's also a bit of a longer map as well, 2 minutes and 55 seconds, almost hitting that 3-minute mark. So even a little bit of a consistency check, especially with tapping maps, which do tend to be shorter sometimes. Having to hold on to your tapping technique for 3 whole minutes can be a bit of a test.
Yeah. I mean, despite that drain time of 2 minutes 55 seconds, there is a lot of downtime in between as well, especially in the middle of the map. So you can kind of reconvene yourselves as the match goes on, calm your nerves just a little bit, but also it's unavoidable that the nerves will go higher and higher as that map goes if you want to win for your team here. And like I said, that nerves can really affect your vision as well for some of these players, and tunnel vision can't happen to the best of us on this kind of environment.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of an interesting setup here for Pennsylvania on this one. It's looking like Taco Snoz is the third player, as we do have GLHFs in the chat. Normally that is Daziak, or actually Cooper on the tapping support. Excuse me, not Daziak, he is for the Hard Rock and other aim support, but normally I expected to see Cooper, and he is the player who supported them on last week's pool to get the 3-way FC on the DT3 and the 2-way FC almost 3 million team score on the DT2. interesting decision to swap them out. On the other side, we do see the pretty normal tapping roster for NorCal. It's probably just going to be Asa and AJ Mosca in for most of the tapping maps, and it's going to be Enmil to round out the roster. Noobish person.
Pretty an early miss from AJ. Not sure if that's already a Bancho miss, but it's looking like the Bancho isn't picking that up. So that is already an early miss coming up on the side of NorCal here. Nothing to really worry about just yet because of that drain time that we mentioned before. And, you know, we do expect these players to be real comfortable on these tapping maps here. But maybe in the grand scheme of things, with the comfortability that Remixia and Venom Puff has shown, maybe their early miss could be detrimental already.
Early miss from Taco Snoz is going to trade out, but yeah, Remexia's ability to just come in and FC these maps, even all the way well into the 7-star range, has been proven time and again. Thinking back to some of his performances in ADS, and we do see another trade come out from Enmil, so it's just AJ and Asa to hold on for NorCal A. 2 FCs to 2, with a ever so slight advantage to NorCal. As AJ was struggling a little bit with Yak earlier, down at 92, now back all the way up at 96. So should look to feel better as the map goes on, but of course Remexia at 98 and Venom Puffs at 97 as we go into one of those bigger burst sections, into some longer sliders, so you do get some time to rest, but you need to make sure your fingers are functioning correctly here, and it does look like everyone holds.
Yeah, and surprisingly enough, this is only a 50k score difference despite the 2 misses that we do see from North California. And I mean, it is still rising, but still that accuracy difference though is mattering a lot more here than we expected between these two teams. Even though these acts are pretty similar, those score differences is going to keep on increasing if we don't see breaks coming in from Pennsylvania here.
Yeah, 96 and 95 on Asa and AJ Mosca at the moment, as you were alluding to. Enmil was holding a 99 earlier, but now down at a high 97. Should be flickering into the 98 range. And fortunately, that high accuracy is on the broken combo of his. So Scorley continuing to go north of 100k in Pennsylvania's favor, and there's not really a lot left to break on in this map. Once you get past the long burst, which I believe they already have, so it's just some shorter bursts and big sliders. And I think Pennsylvania will be able to walk this one into the goal.
Ooh, but then we are...
Especially Asa going down there, yeah.
Yeah, Asa going down, that's going to be it. Oh, actually, no, that's the Bancho coming up here, but still, that 170k score difference that is actually kind of uncomebackable here with the max score that they're approaching here, especially with their act.
Yep. So, NorCal having a few too many slip-ups. AJ's early miss might have mattered a little bit here, too, is probably missing around an extra 100k, 70k score. I mean, still probably wouldn't have been enough, but it would have definitely made things closer.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for Enmil to miss on whatever they're missed on that slider there. Just maybe a little bit too comfortable on the tapping and not really accounting for other aspects of the map here, probably. But yeah, 3 S-ranks from the side of Pennsylvania, kind of what you expect for the tapping map here. But now North California, they're going to lean in more towards that gimmick side, trying to maybe abuse that third player kind of gap that people might recognize here. But still, the SR is still within reasonable difficulty for these third players to still give enough practice to really give out good scores.
Yep, and that third player for Pennsylvania is something we'll be paying attention to as the rounds go on. Of course, semifinals going to be even more difficult, and this quarterfinals pool is already pretty high up there in the SR for a domestic quarterfinals tournament pool. It's going to be NorCal. We're probably just going to be seeing either an easy one or a hidden one. Those are probably some pretty high priority picks. And then not really sure where they go from there, as the aim is a bit of a toss-up against Venom Puffs Remexia. Venom Puffs Remexia. And yeah, Venom Puffs. Interesting combination of names there. It's just going to be the easy one first pick.
Easy one, but even though there is that 100k score difference from that previous round between these two teams, this one is a way more harder, easy one than we've seen before. This is that SR bump that has been accounted for the admins that desired it here, and this easy one should be able to hopefully deliver in that here, with North California on paper being able to win this out.
Yeah, I do think this is one of the more quote-unquote free picks that NorCal have into this. Obviously, with Remexia, Bemp, and Taco Snoz, no pick is really free, but I mean, the easy, they already won by a pretty decent margin on the previous easy one, and it's only getting harder from here on out on the easies.
Yeah.
This map has some pretty interesting patterns as well. Pretty difficult to learn, I would say, with the block triangles, and you kind of have to figure out where to flow your cursor through it.
I mean, even though that first map nerves should be gone with that Nomad 5 play, you know, still other players haven't really played yet, so this could be a little bit more nervous from the side of, you know, North California with that pressure to be able to win this point as well, even if they did that stats watch of their own with that run of 16 stats. That Timber has provided here with them winning over that easy one handedly, 100k score difference in the context of easy. But you know, Pennsylvania here, they haven't shown any of these slouches in that easy as well. But still, North California, that depth is really, really, really in their favor.
Yep, looking at, of course, their gimmick king, Skyzy, also known as Azurium in the upper left. AJ Mosca also showing great easy performances through both this year and last year in his minor league run, his minor league victory run, where it was banned into them, double banned almost every single round down there. And Cytosine maybe a little bit more nervous than the other players as he doesn't play as many tournaments as them. We'll have to see. He's performed a little bit subpar of expectations so far this tournament. So want to see him step up and really come into his own. It is going to be no Remexia or Venom Puffs in for this map, however, for Pennsylvania, just Bemp +2, the +2 being Taco Snoz and Daziak.
Yeah, and early acting drops from Bemp here, but still, those big combos coming in here. But there actually is that Cytosine miss for the side of NorCal here, right before that first Kia, but traded off here with Taco Snoz, so still pretty close between these two teams.
Here we go into the Ki section. There are some really tricky rhythms on these overlapping burst patterns. Really have to parse out where they start and where they stop. And there goes some more breaks for Pennsylvania. Daziak and Taco Snoz with only Cytosine to trade. And that is already a 100k lead going into the ending here. Just Bemp to hold on to his FC, matched by Skyzy and AJ Mosca in the late stages of the easy. I think we can almost safely write this one off here.
Yeah, with the map being really so short right now, and with this being a 200k score difference, this is not even a safe win here. This is a domination from the side of North California here.
Yeah, very comfortable. Pennsylvania keeping up in the first half, and a little bit of slip up with Cytosine finding the first break, but I mean, you know what they say, they had us in the first half, and then you sort of laugh it off as you walk it home.
Really impressive act too.
Yeah. 99.1 and 99.5 for AJ and Azurium. Bemp finding the PFC too, but the accuracy difference sort of telling the story here.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you mentioned Cytosine kind of not performing up to what we kind of expect, but to be honest, this is like his first rodeo of an actual competitive scene here. And then him trying out for like NorCal is actually kind of a surprise.
He did play team in
2020. No, but like in a while.
Oh, yes, that's like
3 years ago. Like, you know, he's been mapping, he's doing his mass PhD, whatever, over at Stanford, but yeah.
I don't know how publicly known that one is, Valine.
I can give him a little bit of slack, to be honest here. But, you know, him performing well in a trials is no questions asked about his skills that he can provide. But anyways, Pennsylvania, DT3 being still open for them, it could be the obvious pick, but it could be also a gamble as well with how RNG can feel with the finger control and that density.
Yeah, some of those patterns are really tricky, and even a little bit aim control at some points. The doubles suddenly changing spacing, so to the point where you actually have to aim them, and then afterwards snapping onto some sliders with some pretty awkward angles sometimes. So it can be a bit of a challenge, not just for the left hand, but also for the right. And they are going to be going for the DT1 instead for now, holding on to that DT3 pick for later.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is a good pick for them, relying on that super reliable consistency of Remixia and Venopuff on a mechanics pick here, and you can kind of expect like that double FCs coming in for Remixia and Venopuff, and it's just that third player just trying to carry as much support in them as they can to support those two. So it's just a matter of North California, of the question of them being able to match up that consistency.
Yep, and on the DT1, it's going to be Annoying Maniac, the captain this year, stepping into... excuse me, stepping into the lobby. Been not a super long time member, playing once last year, and then once again all the way back in 2022 for NorCal A, missing the 2 years of 2023 and 24, where NorCal actually did have some of their worst finishes. Winning in 2022 and then placing 4th in 2023 and then 5th, 6th the next year before finally finding a return to form in 3rd place the previous year, 2025.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of results for states, I mean, Pennsylvania, they're in a renaissance right now. They've been like B&Q or just being in 25th to 32nd all this time up until now with Venopuffs and Remixia, and with the addition of Remixia just popping up out of nowhere. Providing Pennsylvania an opportunity to make it really far into this tournament here. And right now, this is their chance to really make a name for themselves if they win over North California.
Yeah, and you mentioned Remexia and Venopuffs. It's not just them. Bemp also coming back to the game, having moved from Maryland, playing for them all the way back in, I believe it was 2022. Yeah, it was 2022, and they did have a pretty good finish, a top 8 finish back then, alongside his Maryland compatriots. And of course, when you do have players like Remexia and Venopuffs playing for your state, that will attract some other talented players interested in playing with them, and that, of course, all culminates in the 5th place seeding that Pennsylvania have gotten for themselves in qualifiers. We are into the DT1 here, and it is going to be Venopuffs and Remexia, the Pennsylvanian dynamic duo, with Daziak as their 3rd, as he has been many a time on the AIM mechanics picks.
Yeah, so really up to those 3rd players in Pennsylvania to really catch up to Remexia and Venopuff here. And we did see that earlier miss from Daziak, and again a miss here right before the first TI. So nothing too significant, but once that DT multiplier really exponentiates the scores, it might really be effective there.
Yeah, one thing of course to note is the Remexia SS. Almost, but not quite matched by Enmil on a 99% FC, but of course there are 2 more FCs backing up him as opposed to the singular FC of Venopuffs at the moment. Accuracy matched by Annoying Maniac and Jimoska. Both a score and accuracy gap over Daziak at the moment, who's down at 95.
Ooh,
it's going to be a trade between
Daziak
Daziak and Kirsten, though.
Yeah, it's still a good score lead from the Center NorCal. It's just going to be tying up those 2 big combos, but never mind. It's just going to be 1 versus 2 now with Enmil and Remexia and Venopuff, with the AJ Mosca miss in that second Ki here. So that score difference is going to go towards Pennsylvania. So like I said, this consistency of this Pennsylvania duo is just going to be really scary here to match up against on this match.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the 3rd players, but when you just have so much firepower on your 1 and 2, they're so consistent on FCing any of their comfort picks you put them on. And you look at the players on the side of NorCal, yes, they're incredibly good, but they still can miss, like we just saw with Cursing, like we just saw with AJ Mosca on this map, and it's already, it was previously 150k in NorCal, and now it's completely flipped on its head. 150k in favor of Pennsylvania, and there goes Enmil as well, and that's just going to be it for this one.
Yeah, I mean, outputting a good score from Enmil's side, but just not really enough to really match up on what Remexia and Venopuff has provided here for Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania getting themselves the 2nd point here with a really expected performance coming in from Venopuff and Remexia. Look at that.
That is a double perfect FC, not even dropping a single slider end, I believe. Yeah, there it is with 99.5 on Remexia and 98.6 on Venopuffs. That is what this dynamic duo is going to be doing all night tonight. Map after map, they will go in and put in their work. Maybe
Yeah.
not always as dominant as this DT1, but it's definitely expected to be better than a lot of the rest of this lobby.
Yeah, interestingly enough, though, with the high X that Venom Puff and Remixia has shown, even if Annoying Manic did FC the rest of the map, it would still be really, really close because of the 1.1 million score cap that Venom Puff has shown here. And maybe that supporting a score that Remixia can add up to maybe even them winning it despite that Annoying Maniac FC, but it's, the outcome has already been decided with that end mill miss right at the end there being definitive for that Pennsylvania win. So I think we can expect them to really continue to pick on the mechanics, and this time with North California picking into the hit and one, I think is the correct choice with that bans that Pennsylvania have shown here.
Yep, just one last look back at the DT1. Daziak on the 400k, struggling a lot more than anyone else in the lobby, even though we saw AG Mosca miss quite a bit in the back half of the map. 2 misses and 3 slider breaks, I believe it was. Still putting out 600k for himself, and the accuracy does tell a bit of the story there. Daziak all the way down at 94. But that map has already been secured by his teammates. We are into the hidden one next for NorCal's second pick.
So this one, I don't think is that comfortable for NorCal, even though this is a little bit of a dense. I kind of really not really, just a little bit of awkward aim in there, but with that low AR coming in, it could be a little bit uncomfortable for the side of Pennsylvania here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the low BPM makes the AR9 really not, really not that bad. Usually when people think of AR9, they think of some crazy density on hidden, but you're looking at 175 AR9. This is what people played all the time back in the olden days before decimal point ARs even existed in the editor natively. Especially on this lower BPM, it's probably not going to be as bad as the stats might show.
Yeah, I mean, with the density, I guess, being lower because of the nature of aim maps, then it probably wouldn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but it can maybe throw people a little bit off guard here. Especially with a lot of these players kind of joining OC like past the 2020s mark. And
there is that as well, yeah.
The meta of like just aim, slop, and high AR kind of thing. It's that comfort that a lot of players can have here. So the new tournaments just provide that new experience for these players here.
Well, we are into this, and speaking of tournament experience, Remexia being a little bit on the newer side, not going to be as familiar with the hiddens. He has shown some ability to play the hidden one, as it's still within his wheelhouse of aim mechanics, but some of the more gimmicky elements. There's the first miss from both Remexia and Venom Puffs. So NorCal able to put some speed bumps in their progression track, is currently holding on to a three-way for themselves. Skyzy, Cytazine, and Enmil is your trio for NorCal on this map, and holding quite nicely in through this first Ki. It's actually going to be Skyzy to find a break. The first for NorCal, it's going to be traded out by Daziak, and with Remexia and Venom Puffs on pretty low combos, it's going to be a pretty comfortable lead right now. But here we are into the awkward aim section. Big squares to finish out in the burst. Cytazine and Enmil do get out scot-free.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the harder parts of the map as well. And with Cytazine and Enmil hitting it, it's actually going to be a really good start for them. Maybe even the defining factor of them winning this point already, with those 2 misses coming in from Daziak and Remexia. So, I mean, Venom Puff still catching up, but, it's just going to get harder and harder from here on.
Yep. We go into another build-up section, and the map is quite calm for a little bit. There is one more Ki before we hit the big diff spike of the map, but still relatively calm compared to what we're about to see. And we are into the second Ki. Cytazine and Enmil still holding on to their combos, and it's just about a 300k score advantage for NorCal. Pennsylvania have built up some nice recoveries. Venom Puffs holding on to his reverse choke, and Remexia and Daziak not too far behind him as we go into the diff spike.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a little bit scary for the side of NorCal. I don't think you want to miss at the moment here because your 300k score difference is kind of comebackable if you see 2 misses from NorCal if Pennsylvania continues to hold. But right now, it seems like Pennsylvania will not be holding out much longer with those 2 misses and a reset from Venom Puff missing at this spike here. So North California already speed running this hidden one win right here.
Yeah, a full wipe from Venom Puff. Skyzy does get through that section only to miss right after. But Cytosine, of course, still holding onto the FC, even into the actual tail end of that with a final awkward spacing on that burst. A little bit of a wiggle on that one. The 6-note burst, but he does pull through, and I mean, well, what else can I really say there as I'm talking about him? Maybe dropping...
Yeah, the miss.
I was about to praise him for finally getting a nice FC for himself in match, and then he just goes and does that.
I mean, it's a good score nonetheless.
Yeah.
It's probably being the defining factor for them to win this point right here.
Yeah, I mean, it is 600,000 in NorCal's favor after it's all said and done. Cytosine was, what was that, 800,000 individual score? Yep, and not a single score over 500k for Pennsylvania.
Yeah, so really understandable for Pennsylvania to ban that hidden out, and with 3 hiddens and only two bans available at your hand, then that hidden slot will inevitably be open here, and North California took advantage of that here. So Pennsylvania, they can still continue to lean in on that mechanics pick that they've always been good at here, and maybe another aim pick isn't so bad here.
Yep, gonna be looking for... Oh, there goes Bancho audio again. Gonna be looking at Hardock 1, Hardock 3, maybe a DT3 if they feel like going back into the tapping now. Of course, DT4 also open for the flow aim. Also, Nomad 1. That map is pretty difficult on the aim. Some full screen 1-2 jump spam. Does the jumps do go on for quite a while? I would call it aim stamina even.
Yeah, and yeah, Pennsylvania mechanics. It could be an obvious. I don't know about an obvious pick. It's just hard to say. And actually, that's not even an obvious pick at all. That's a surprising pick for Pennsylvania in the number 4. This is the kind of pick that you would expect from North California, but maybe that mechanics aspect of this number 4 could be a factor of them picking this here.
I mean, Valine, there's the reason why these maps are called mech tech maps. They are half tech, but they're also half mech for mechanics. And this one leaning probably a little bit more on the mechanics side. Pretty hard on the aim, on the spacing, some awkward flow changes as well.
Yeah. Awkward flow changes, and we do see that, with this short of a map, any recoveries can be very scary if any of these big combos from your other opponent can miss. And it was a very close one from what we saw in New York and Indiana A. Indiana almost letting it go with those 2 misses from JT and the Outer Bubble, if I recall correctly. Just edging it out with an 18k score difference on this Nomad 4 here against New York. So they did win that point barely, but also it wasn't enough for them to win the entire match and allow New York to go through. But for this particular match here, it's kind of hard to say who would win here.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. And also, this map is just kind of tough to FC. We saw, even in SoCal A's match earlier today, even, I think, both Hygeo and Crickard failing to FC. I believe it was Crickard to break on, like, the very last slider of the map. It was basically an FC, but still not a true FC in the truest sense. And that is pretty much the most impressive score we've seen on this map this weekend. Lots of pretty low, well, not necessarily low, but between 400 and 600k for a lot of players is what we've seen on this map. And even some 700k LOAC FCs.
Yeah.
Or near FCs.
Near FCs as well. So with this map being kind of a little bit short, let's expect a lot of these smaller combos to really matter much more here if you do see a lot of breaks coming in. But And, with this SR, I'm sure both of these teams, these higher seeded teams, can really bring out a lot of good combo gains, like maybe even halfway towards the map here. So we'll have to wait and see.
Do have a little bit of a short build-up section, but of course, as tech maps do go, they will go quickly into the drop. And speaking of said drop, here we are right away into things. Some cut triples into sliders, and just overall aim control on some of these slider jumps. The slider aim gonna be catching out SkyZ, the first to break. And it's gonna be Remexia, Venom Puffs, and Bemp for Pennsylvania up against Azurium, Sizine, and Edmil. And this is I can see why Pennsylvania picked this now, because now they just get their 3 best players in the lobby at the same time.
Yeah, basically. And, honestly, all these players as well in your screen, kind of in that veteran presence as well, them having that history under their belt, except for maybe Remexia, but still, that mechanics is just unquestionable. But still, even though it is unquestionable, that Remexia miss is obvious there.
That is a very obvious stain on this Pennsylvania score at the moment. The only player to break on their side, and did break in a bit of a worse spot than Azurium here around the middle of the map. Azurium broke fairly early on in that first Ki, so score cap on those 2 players going to be a little bit higher for Azurium, assuming the rest of the combos hold. But we still have this last Ki section to hold through. Going to be some slider jumps, and there goes Sidus off the slider jumps. Going to be straight out by Bemp, however, so it's still Enmil and Venom Puffs in the 1v1. Remexia breaks on the double stream. But more double stream coming. Can they hold? Everyone holds, but there goes. It's not going to be SkyZ at the end. The score's so close.
5.5K.
Nowhere, the score is just 5K in favor of NorCal. The break at the very end of the double stream almost does them in. SkyZ almost flubs it at the final hour, but manages to pull through in the end, barely. And I really do think Remexia is going to be kicking himself for those earlier misses in the map, as that is the first break point of the match as well. NorCal taking the lead now, 3-2, with their pick next.
Yeah, I mean, fellow 5WC team members just missing a lot in this Nomad 4. Just kind of mimicking each other, but man, what a close affair that was, especially maybe a singular 100 could have affected everything from Venom Puff there. But yeah,
it's definitely within that territory.
Giving up a break point there, but honestly, it doesn't, like, how can you blame them for that? It was just so close right into the end.
Yeah. And looking at the scores there, of course, Venom Puffs on the high 97 FC. Bemp finding a slider break near the end. Side of NorCal, it was Endmill to match. This man put some crazy tech scores in certain places. Valine feels like elaborating. We've seen some pretty insane tech scores of him, but we are going to be seeing a Flex 1. Interesting.
Yeah, I
wasn't really expecting this one.
I mean, yeah. With the precision that Remexia has shown his prowess in that, it is going to be a little bit scary, but his one being a little bit more of a gimmickier side here, and also a little bit of that low AR. But that low AR also doesn't matter too much because of that low CS and that low density as well. So it's just, I would say, like, in terms of the style of this map, it can be in favor towards North California, but the Remexia consistency is just really scary.
Yeah, and speaking of Remexia, there's also Venom Puffs, who's going to be really good on some of the bigger spacing aim we see in this map. It's CS7, AR 8.7, but the spacing is pretty large sometimes, going from note to note, from pattern to pattern. BPM of 161 is going to make that a little bit more bearable, but you're still playing on CS7. And my goodness, those circles are small.
Yeah. And, Hard Rock 2 is still open as well, so the outcome of this match could decide what, any of these two teams will pick afterwards, right here. But, with this Flex Mod 1, with that low combo density as well for a drain time of 3 minutes and 29 seconds. A lot of these, you can only get like so few combo like in the first quarter of the map, like maybe like 200, 100 combo there. So it's just gonna really matter a lot for these really small combo holds from either of these teams here.
Yep. Speaking of the hyper precision, taking a quick look at their stats, it was Remexia on the Seoul FC last week for the No Mod 5. A little bit different flavor of precision, all the way up at CS 8.8, almost CS 9, and also a bit of a different style, more focused on some of the raw aim and also aim control on the incredibly small spacing.
Yeah.
Going back to the week before, Pennsylvania. Not the best performance on the other low AR hyper precision map we had. Round of 32, Flex 1, of course, being that one. 3 B ranks and no FCs from anyone. So maybe taking a look at that score and thinking they have a good chance here at NorCal. It's going to be Annoying Maniac, the first to break. He will be accompanied by Cytosine and Skyzy for this one. Up against who else but Remexia and Venopuffs, this time accompanied by Daziak for some of that smaller circle aim.
Yeah, if Pennsylvania wants to come back to equilibrium with tying this up, they would have to win now at this point here. And that early miss from an Annoying Maniac wouldn't matter too much, but actually that miss from Skyzy though could matter a lot more here. Even though it is kind of early on in this match, I mean, it can really be effective of a miss for North California to be really detrimental on it. But still, that ag difference is actually kind of going in their favor of NorCal here, despite that 93 coming in from Annoying Maniac.
I mean, it's not just about the combo density, there's also some hit object density, as you can get a lot of combo from some of these sliders that have lots of slider ticks in them. Of course, it's not like it's anything crazy like slider tick rate 2. It's still the normal slider tick rate, so you're still getting a normal amount of combo from the sliders. As we're talking about them, there goes Daziak. Venopuffs and Remex is still holding on to their FCs, matched by Cytosine. And as you mentioned earlier, taking check-in on the accuracies, it's Annoying Maniac at 92 matching Venopuffs. Skyzy at 97, the highest in the lobby. But Daziak also with some really good ag here, 96. Going to be holding for him as he looks to build up recovery in this next section of the map. But this part does get pretty high space. You're already seeing that, and there goes Venopuffs. Going to be traded out by Cytosine. So just one FC left in the lobby. It's Remexia, Cursing and Daziak to trade. Skyzy, the lone recovery on NorCal now, trying to stave off Remexia's advance. There she goes as well, and now it's just Remexia in sole control of this map.
Yeah, I think Skyzy just under-aimed there just a little bit, or just didn't tap it there. But there actually goes Remexia though, so that halted their score lead just a bit though, but there's more recoveries coming in from instead of Venopuff and Daziak, but still actually matching Annoying Maniac and Cytosine. So this 100k score difference is going to go towards them, their side of Pennsylvania much more here, but I think the misses from the future, from later on in this map, will matter much more here on this outcome of this map.
And speaking of later misses, there goes Cursing, traded out by Daziak. The recovery's still building. There goes Skyzy and Skyzy. And there's a full reset on NorCal, and there's not too much left to this map, actually. The outro is pretty long. It's about the last quarter. Venopuff still holding, and he's basically made it into the ending at this point. And yeah, that 60k score lead should not be going anywhere. Venopuffs with a little bit concerning act, all the way down at 89, but the combo will speak for itself at this point. As Daziak and Cursing share a little bit of an oopsie there, but this should be more than enough work done, and yes, the score is advancing in Pennsylvania's favor at this point.
Yeah, and this being one of the easier parts as well, with that being a longer slider right at the end, this is just pretty much over here for NorCal's pick of Flex Mod 1 here. Just probably not what they expected, but they should have expected the consistency that, you know, Remexia has shown on this precision pick here. Maybe just a little bit of unlucky miss on their end as well, maybe that nerves. But yeah, we're just going to tie it up here between these two teams.
Yeah, Breakpoint traded for Breakpoint between these two teams. I do think NorCal was thinking that this is just one of the higher skill cap maps of the pool, and I do agree with that assessment. I just think Daziak put up a really good performance as the third man, and NorCal's third man, looking at Cursing on the other side, 91%, not even 300k. So, bit of an unfortunate performance from him.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really the lowest act as well. There is that Venom Pup 90% act. He just did not miss. He just slider break, but also got more recoveries than Annoying Maniac. So that mattered much more here in the outcome of this map of Flex Mod 1. And we're just back in equilibrium. We're just back to picking the points, the picks for our own points here.
Yeah, a little bit of a switcheroo dance around the table for these teams, but we're back to square one. Break point for break point traded. And the pick does go back to Pennsylvania. It's a pretty quick DT4 coming out here.
Yeah. DT4, I mean, you can do a stat switch in a DT4 around the 16. I think it was NorCal that wanted out, but this is a completely different kind of DT4 with the flow aim presence that it has, and also the alt as well here. More of an alt presence than anything for this map. Not really much of a high AR as well, if I recall correctly. I think I'm recalling wrong. Yeah, no,
last week was 10.1. Last week was 10.1. This was
yeah, so it's similar AR here. Oh,
yeah, but there's
the DT4.
I would say there's definitely a noticeable difference between 10 and 10.1. It's not quite like 10 to 10.3, but it's there. And looks like we're having some struggles in the lobby getting the correct map to play.
The ref.
But yeah, this DT4 not a type of map we've seen yet so far in this tournament. It's going to be some flow aim with actually a little bit of back and forth snaps. They are sparse, but they are there, and it's enough to the point where you do have to be comfortable on them to consistently set high scores. They're placed around the map almost strategically at certain choke points where you've gotten a little combo now, but now there's the check of can you hit the 180 BPM back and forth. And if you can't, then there goes your combo. If you can, then proceed a little bit longer, and now you have another checkpoint. So the checkpoints are fairly regular. You do need to be consistent on hitting that pattern.
Yeah, and speaking of consistency, consistency is required to be able to play this map as well, as it is kind of difficult in its own consistency as well. I mean, what am I saying?
It's pretty long.
Consistent, yeah, it's just consistent in its own difficulty, like no really notable div spikes here. So it's all about if you can just be able to play the ult here, especially with the high AR. But the high AR doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things with how dense it can be with this CS here.
Yeah, and as you're talking about consistency, 3 minutes after DT does mean the original song for this is around 5 minutes. So usually 3-minute DT map is actually pretty long. So you definitely do need some consistency in order to play this, of course. Who else but the consistency kings, the dynamic duo Venom Puffs and Remexia, once again accompanied by Daziak. No Cooper so far today, despite some of the tapping adjacent skill sets that we have touched so far, and even just straight up tapping with a Nomad 5 earlier.
Yeah. This one gonna be a different story to tell with this DT4. Not really comparable with the last week's DT4 that both teams played in the head-to-head there. So all about more so your aim mechanics could be reliant on here with that aim effluent to be required, and also a little bit of the aim that can appear here and there.
Yeah, already getting a little bit of a taste of that in the intro. You are into a bit more of a calmer verse looking at the players. Of course, already introduced those for Pennsylvania. For NorCal, we have Asa, Skyzy, and AJ Mosca. Gonna be looking at AJ for this map in particular, as DT4 kind of is his slot. So we'll keep a close eye on him. Currently holding an SS, in fact, and that is the only SS in the lobby, but there he goes on the combo. Finding some breaks in his first Ki, unfortunately, and that's the only break so far.
Yeah, so far on this really hard Ki at the moment, these are the misses that come in from NorCal being the only one here. 66 his score difference, but it's going to keep on rising if these combos continue to rise for the side of Pennsylvania. I mean, in terms of act as well, it's pretty comparable between these two teams, and we do see that Asa miss on the side of NorCal as well here, so it's just going to be more in favor of Pennsylvania here on this DT4.
Yeah, unfortunately just missing the snap on the spacing change mid-triple. Now it's just SkyZ to hold. Daziak finally trading back at around the halfway mark of the map, so he will be score capped. Does have pretty good accuracy, and also that DT multiplier gonna be giving him quite some hefty score regardless. But AJ also resetting his recovery, and it's Venom Puffs and Remexia on the two-way FC against Zurium. Already 300k in Pennsylvania's favor on this one.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, this is a different story to tell with this DT4, and indeed, we do see a difference in score advantages towards either states here. This time, being in the side of Pennsylvania here, with that consistency that Remixia and Venipov is showing right now. This 400k score difference, or nearing it, sorry, it's just going to keep on rising here, as the only offsetting combo is SkyZ that is present here. That recovery of AJ Muska could have been really helpful there if we do see potential misses of Venopuff and Remexia, but unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see it right now here.
Yeah, just around 200 combo left in the map at this point, and 500k is far too much to come back from, especially after that SkyZ miss in the ending. And we're just going to be seeing Pennsylvania walk home another pick of their own, another glue point for them under the belts.
Yeah, unfortunate miss from Ted Venopuff, but already enough to really deal a blow on his DT4 against North California here. 800k score difference on this Flow Alt map. So them winning their own point does solidify that equilibrium being established here. So now North California just gotta get a pick of their own to get that fourth pick and also avoid that match point for Pennsylvania.
Yeah, break point here would be certainly disastrous, as that would put Pennsylvania on match point with their own pick next. Funny enough, with Venom Puffs there, despite the miss, still getting over 1 million score thanks to 98.5 accuracy.
Yeah. I don't think North California would pick into the Hard Rock 2. Maybe the Force mod could come into play here for them. I'm not sure if they would even pick the No Mod 1 with that mechanics heavy orientation, and even the Hard Rock 1 as well. So I think their last best pick could be the Force mod 1, and maybe DT3 could, because that is kind of a gamble.
Yeah, I'm looking at the No Mod 4 win, and also just the gimmicky nature and strengths of NorCal over Pennsylvania. Thinking maybe the No Mod 3 might be a decent pick for them as well. If you really want to take things a stretch, you go Hard Rock 3, but at that point that is sort of just an aim and slider jump map. Although we did see some slider jumps on No Mod 4 going the way of NorCal, so it could be favorable for them, but no, they're just doubling down on the hyper precision. Hard Rock 2 pick coming in, and that is despite some increased comfort on the higher AR for both Venom Puffs and Remexia.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised with this kind of pick. I'm sure they know that Remexia is really consistent on their precision here, especially with this being a little bit close aim patterns together with this CS, despite that CS. CS. What am I saying?
Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Computer science.
North California maybe just showing that they're still confident in that precision maps, and I think that's a good mentality to have here, just to like not really boom on like them just not testing out other like skill sets again here against this team. So maybe just another read of skill cap kind of map here.
Yeah, despite the low SR, definitely one of the hardest maps in the pool. It's going to be CS8 this time. And AR10 to boot, so even lower density than what we saw before. We do see the BPM at 120, however. So some ulti patterns will increase the density a little bit, making perhaps it ever so slightly easier to read for some of these players. But when it is just the 1/2 and 1/1 rhythms, it can be pretty tough with the extremely low density brought on by these map stats. Of course, we do have to talk about the one Hard Rock FC on this map in existence at the moment. Just over 1 million score set by Alex the JPEG in his match earlier, playing for Virginia A-Team. I believe that was 98.56 accuracy. And I'm just getting a call out that Tarragon also FC'd that I had completely forgotten about because casters have the memory of a goldfish.
Yeah, Tarragon being quite well established in their own right. Sorry, within the tourney scene, kind of trying a lot of the years, trying just to get up there in the echelons, I guess, quote unquote echelons of the 5-digit scene, and indeed they did accumulate that in the appearance of 5WZ A team here. But with but speaking of the A team, though, Skyzy and Remexia being the one to show up as well for their country, but just shying from that top 3 against United Kingdom.
Yep, well, we are here into this map. No early breaks, but of course we are just in that intro. The map will pick up shortly. Of course, Venom Puffs and Remexia, this time joined by Bemp. They're probably just their 3rd best player, so another good roster for Pennsylvania, getting all of their best players in. Nobody missing on these initial all pounders, but they go Cytosine, and there goes Skyzy to follow up behind him. Knowing Maniac, the only FC to hold on the side of NorCal. I mean, this is one of his better skill sets, and there goes Remexia, and there goes Venom Puffs as well. So those are really important breaks for NorCal's chances in this map. The dynamic duo going down, and there goes Bemp. So it's just cruising on the lone FC at this moment in time. He does have a chance to pull this score lead in favor of NorCal, and the score will finally flip in their favor. 25k and counting as we go into another slow section.
Yeah, and with this low combo density, you really need Annoying Manic to hold on much longer here for them to not really gain back that, recoveries to get those score differences back. And that slightly misses gonna not help, but there goes Cursing though on that miss as well. Bemp kind of trading it out, but there isn't really any considerable combos to really note about except for Skyzy here. And Venom Puff just kind of catching up there, so now you kind of have all eyes on Skyzy to really get that 80k score difference towards their end here as we reach the last quarter of this map. And unfortunately, that miss of Skyzy is just not going to really help out North California.
Yeah, and especially with Cytosine and Cursing finding more breaks, only traded out by Bemp, and these combos on Venom Puffs and Remexia are still going. The score will finally flip back in Pennsylvania's favor. And this is already basically the end of the map. 20k, it's still holding close, especially with that Bemp break. But Skyzy not able to hold, and we are into the last few notes of the map. 50k is surely enough at this point, especially with NorCal continuing to break in the ending, and that is another break point in the most inopportune moments for NorCal as Pennsylvania put themselves on match point.
Ooh, Pennsylvania 1 point away, man, to repeat what has happened last year to North California, but not in the same kind of outcome as well when that last year's match went to tiebreaker here. But Pennsylvania, this renaissance from them, they can take it even further here with their next pick here. And North California, they're just gonna have to bite their nails and see what they pick and hopefully be competitive on this pick on Pennsylvania, because they still, I believe, have one good pick on their side.
Yep. Looking at the DT pool, the only remaining map there is surely to be a standout candidate for their captain. Looking at the state of North California as a whole this weekend, quarterfinals not such a good stage for them if we look at last year, and if we look at the entirety of the state of California. This year, the C team falling 6-4, but this time from the winner bracket, not from the losers bracket. And the B team finding a win, so avoiding a complete catastrophe for the state. But the A team here currently down 3-5 and in need of a break point immediately.
Yeah, and
it's
also
gonna be a tall ask.
SoCal A also winning out 6-0 against their Kentucky opponents, and I believe SoCal B also winning out as well. SoCal C.
Yes.
I forgot SoCal C's outcome.
They're playing right now against Ohio, and I believe their second match of lower bracket.
Okay, so
already a better outcome for SoCal this year. Much better. could make it a clean 3-0 for their teams this week.
But yeah, this is gonna be it here with this aim, and like I said, that mechanics duo is very scary, and this is quite the good pick actually for the side of Pennsylvania here to pick this. And even though aim is kind of RNG, their consistency is pretty scary though.
Yeah, that is for sure. Scary map and a scary song for a scary mechanics duo. Venom Puff's so good at any form of high BPM aim, and really just any form of aim in general, but really good at the high BPM, really good at the big spacing, really good at the no mod aim. It's going to be Remexia likely his duo, and to round out probably Daziak here. Looking at their roster, yeah, it is probably just Daziak to round things out. We do see him sitting in the lobby at the moment. On the other side, it's going to be Cursing, their resident combo gamer, accompanied by Skyzy and Endmill. Not players who are really known for their aim, but of course, Nomad 1, always a bit of a coin flip skill set, so we'll see if NorCal can get the break point they need to keep themselves in this match and potentially take things to tiebreaker.
Yeah. Just win out this match. I mean, not this match, sorry. Win out this pick and win out their next pick if they can get that right pick towards their end here. I think that Noma 3 and Flex Mod is, not Flex Mod, Force Mod is still open for them, but now it's just all on them to really kind of answer back that break point of Hard Rock 2 with this Nomad 1 right here.
Yeah, and of course, tiebreaker and quarterfinals, not a good duo for California in recent time. But this is a bridge that we will cross when we get there. As for now, we are into this first KI section. All players still holding, but there goes the first breaks of Annoying Maniac, and quickly followed up by Skyzy. It is not looking good for NorCal at the moment, as there goes Endmill as well. Only traded back by Daziak, as these 1-2 cross screens just keep coming at you, but Venom Puffs and Remexia parry them like it's nothing. Holding first, holding combo strong through that first KI section.
And, I'm not going to say much about that act that Remexia has here, but with this map being 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and actually a full combo reset, I thought it's going to go much more further with this continued combos of Remexia and Venom Puff, but now it's just going to stall here with those continuous misses and this kind of a diff spike that this map has here.
I mean, you say that, but now there's a 3-way reset for NorCal as well. Nobody has combo Remexia with a modicum of it, as does Venom Puffs, finally putting together recovery, and after the dust settles, it doesn't look any better for NorCal than it did before those combos had fallen.
Yeah, and recovery is a little bit more on the favor of Pennsylvania here. Actually, Remexia kind of missing right there, so stalling that lead just a bit now. But North California, if you want to get this pick, you have to keep on holding much more longer here to offset that Venom Puff recovery that's coming, including that Daziak recovery as well. There goes Daziak on as well, so now it's just all eyes on Venom Puffs to see if you can counter these 3 recoveries that are coming through for North California, but they still have to hold on much more longer here just to get that 60k score difference towards their side. This is a low combo density aim map kind of here, so you need to hold much more longer than you expect.
Slider break from Cursing, but it's still 40k. There is a bit of a slow ending here. Is there enough combo density to bring back 40 play with 2 recoveries to 1? Skyzy and Endmill versus Venom Puffs. But there's small support from Remexia and Daziak. It's not going over fast enough. Yeah. And with that, I think we're saying farewell to NorCal in this year's upper bracket as Pennsylvania make their strongest ever performance in 5USC history.
That 38k has given them the opportunity to make it to minimum 5th, 6th place in their semifinals placement here in winners bracket, and now having the opportunity to face off a much bigger foe in the set of New York here.
That is certainly going to be a matchup for the ages, a marquee matchup to look forward to next week. And NorCal coming to the crossroads known as the quarterfinals this year, with perhaps a bit of an unfortunate seeding facing Pennsylvania here, 4th seed against 5th seed, but somebody has to face this duo in a match in a 1v1, and unfortunately for NorCal, it was them, as Pennsylvania successfully move on in the Major League upper bracket. Congratulations to Bemp, Remexia, Venom Puffs, Daziak, Taco Snaz, and Cooper, who we unfortunately didn't get to see today. As for NorCal, they will be moving down, or falling down to the lower bracket, where they will be facing off against Virginia A, where Alex the JPEG awaits them with that Hard Rock 2 FC on the leaderboard for this week. Surely to be an interesting one, but still a decent losers bracket run to be had for them. And actually on course to face Indiana like they did last year in the semifinals losers bracket, should they both win their first matches next week. And that will be a rematch of last year, something to look forward to for them. But of course, most of us will be looking forward to seeing Pennsylvania face off against a New York, which I believe will be at full strength with more returning. But for now, that has been all for us. I've been Blessed. This has been Valine. Thank you so much for joining us. We do have some more matches going on. Started 30 minutes ago. That was SoCal C, versus Ohio B. Then we have a couple more matches starting just 5 minutes ago, actually. Texas A versus Louisiana A, and Texas C versus Georgia B happening on the A and D streams, respectively. SoCal versus Ohio happening on the C stream. So our streamer will send you over to one of those with a raid shortly. But for now, that's going to be all from us. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Good night.